One of the reasons you may still be in a toxic and narcissistic relationship is because you are concerned or maybe even fearful about how that toxic and narcissistic partner is going to respond to when you want to move on. How are they going to act when they know you don't want to be in a relationship with them anymore? And that's completely normal to have that fear. And I know sometimes a lot of us, including myself, I have been in situations like that before. And, even though you are strong, you don't want to admit that you're fearful, but it's normal to be fearful. If you've seen someone become aggressive, if you've seen someone have intimidating behavior towards you or towards others, it is normal to say, okay, well then how are they going to act with me when I say I don't want to be here anymore? So in today's video, I'm going to answer the question, how do narcissists, or what are some of the things narcissists will do when they find out you don't want to be in a relationship with them anymore? But stick around for the entire video, because not only am I going to tell you some of the things they're going to do so you can be prepared, but then what are the next best steps for you? Because we can't just talk about them. If it's about healing and moving on and rebuilding yourself for you and doing it in a healthy manner, we can't just talk about them. We have to understand for yourself what are the next best steps for you to take. So let's get into that. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Nailah Abdullah. I am a toxic relationship coach with a background in mental health therapy, and I help women to heal and to move on and rebuild themselves from toxic and narcissistic relationships. So one of the things you can expect from a narcissist when they figure out that you don't want to be in a relationship with them anymore is that they're going to start to pretend that they finally understand what you've been begging from them. And I say begging because I know exactly what it's like to be in a relationship with someone who has toxic or narcissistic traits, and you are just asking for them to just respect you, respect themselves, be responsible, just the bare minimum. And when you're in those relationships for so long, you don't see it as the bare minimum, but it really is, to consider your feelings, how they talk to you, the things that they do, right? And over time, not only are you trying to have these conversations, but the conversations turn into begging because you're seeing that you're not getting a response of understanding from them. So now you're repeating yourself, you're trying to find different ways to say things, and at some point, sometimes you may even give up. But either way, one of the things that they're going to do when they see that you don't want to be in a relationship with them anymore is that they're going to pretend now that they finally, after all this time, suddenly they understand what you've been begging. And the reason for that is that they want to keep you there. Right? They don't want you to go. Even if they say it's okay to go or whatever it is, in most cases, unless they have someone else lined up that's easier for them to manipulate, and that's another story. But in most cases, they don't want you to go. Even if you do go, they still want to have their claws in you. They still want to have some connection to you because for them, and this is hard to believe for many people, but for them, they enjoy the games of toxic, unhealthy relationships. They enjoy the back and forth, the tug of war, right? So the fact that you're begging and they've acted like they don't understand what your problem is, why you're complaining so much, and then finally when they see that you don't want to be in the relationship anymore, then they're going to pretend that they suddenly had an epiphany and that they understand what you've been complaining about and that they're going to promise to do better. Another thing that you can expect from a narcissist when they figure out that you don't want to be in the relationship anymore is that they're going to recycle the love bombing phase. So if you're not familiar with the love bombing phase, that is usually the phase at the beginning of the relationship when you first met and they were being extremely kind, extremely generous, giving you all the promises of the future, right? They call that future faking. So telling you how things are going to be, what their interests are and what their goals are, and everything is like sweet and perfect between the two of you. That is a love bomb. That's what they call the love bombing phase, where they just bomb you with a lot of love, which is really fake, right? Just to bring you in, reel you in, make you feel like this person actually has a good side to them. That's really the key, right? So they're setting you up for when they stop the love bombing, so you can always think in the back of your head, but he has good potential. He was good, right? There were good times, right? They want you to, they know that you're going to hold on to that. So if they see that you're starting to slip through their fingers and that they're starting to lose you, you don't want to be there anymore, anymore, they're going to recycle that love bombing phase. They're going to bring it back to cause more confusion to you, to keep you around, to make you think like, oh, there he is again. That's the good side of him. He does have it in him. Maybe we can work through it. Maybe I should stick around because he does have that good potential. Now, the third thing a narcissist may do when they see that you don't want to be in the relationship anymore, and this is on the other side now, is that they're going to act as if they don't care. You can go ahead. I don't care, right? The behavior may even get worse. The way that they speak to you may become more aggressive. They may become more disrespectful, right? They may make even threats to intimidate you. You can go, I don't care, but I'll do this and you'll see what'll happen. And outside of acting worse and behaving worse and treating you worse, they may even start to completely neglect you, right? Not talk to you, not try to work things out. They may see you crying, not show any type of compassion to your tears. Completely neglect, like it really makes no difference to them whether you are in their life or not. And that is painful, especially when you have been in that relationship for a long time. Most toxic narcissistic relationships tend to be months or years, and that is extremely painful. But that, unfortunately, is exactly what they want. That is their form of punishment. They like to punish, even though you didn't do anything for them to punish. In their mind, how dare you, talk about not being here anymore, or have the courage to put your foot down and set boundaries. So now I'm going to punish you. And they know that if they neglect you, that is going to break you, that is going to hurt you tremendously. So that's something that you can also expect from a narcissist or someone with narcissistic traits when they see that you don't want to be in the relationship anymore. The fourth thing you can expect from a toxic or narcissistic person when they see that you don't want to be in the relationship anymore is a smear campaign. For those of you who are not familiar with that term, that is where they start to spread rumors about you. They start to spread gossip about you to your friends, to your family, to people within your community who you both know. And basically that is to ruin your reputation. And it's hard to believe, because it's like, okay, if you love me, why are you speaking so badly about me, even if we do have issues, right? And what they like to say too is, you're telling people about me too. But there's a difference between telling the truth and going to people that you trust for support, right? There's a difference between that and making up lies and trying to twist stories and turn people against you. Those are two different things, and that's what they do. So that's another thing you can expect. The reason for that also is that they want to save face, right? They want to save their image. They want to get to people before you get to them, before people figure out who they are. Even if people have a inclination, right? They don't want people to really know the extreme severity of the situation and really how much of a monster they are. So they want to get to them before you get to them, and also to make you feel alone. They know that if people start to question what you're saying, it's going, again, to punish you, to hurt you, to break you, right? And it's going to cut down the amount of support that you have. So it is very important, and we'll get into that at the end. Like I said, stick around to the end so you know what you need to do. But just as a little hint, it's so important to know who your support system is, because when people really love you and support you, and they have a certain level of emotional intelligence, right? Those people are not going to be able to be tainted by this smear campaign. But that is unfortunately one of the things you can expect from a narcissist or someone with narcissistic traits when they see that you don't want to be in the relationship anymore, is that they're going to start a smear campaign against you. The fifth thing you can expect from a narcissist or someone with narcissistic traits when they see that you don't want to be in the relationship anymore is that they're going to try whatever way they can to sabotage your efforts to get out of the relationship, right? So in a lot of cases, you're living together. If they know that you are, maybe looking for apartments or looking to, make extra money, take on an extra shift, whatever it is, they may spend the money, mismanage the money, not pay the bills, basically make things difficult for you. We spoke about this before as far as the support system, right? Have that smear campaign. So the people that might support you to get out of the relationship, now they've tainted those relationships. They're going to do whatever they can to sabotage your efforts to get out of the relationship. And this is why I often share with my clients and anyone that I speak with is that when you realize the person that you are with is toxic, right? So unhealthy to your well-being. They're not safe emotionally, psychologically for you. They have narcissistic traits, whether you call them narcissistic or not, right? I like the term toxic because that overall says someone that is not healthy for you. As much as you want to tell them, hey, I figured you out, I see what you're doing, do your best to keep it to yourself, because the reality is that only makes you feel good in the moment that you're getting it off your chest. It's really not doing anything else for you, and it's actually giving them an idea of where you are mentally, and that's what they love. They love to know what you're thinking. They love to know what you're planning. They love to know what your strategies are. So the more you keep them in the dark, the better it is for you to plan to make your exit plan to get out of that. So keep it to yourself. But that is something you can expect from someone that is narcissistic. When they realize you don't want to be in the relationship anymore, is that they're going to do whatever they can in any capacity to sabotage your efforts to get out and to distance yourself from them. So the sixth thing you can expect from a narcissist when they realize you don't want to be in the relationship anymore is to fluctuate between all the first 5 things that I just told you, right? So the first few things I told you was like love bombing and begging you and pretending that they understand, right? So that's one end of the spectrum where they're pretending to be nice again and loving again and caring again, and that they want all the great things you say you want, and they want to build a future with you, right? So that's one end of the spectrum. They can fluctuate between that as well as trying to threaten you and intimidate you, or acting like they don't care, right? Or sabotaging you in the smear campaign, right? They're going to fluctuate between the 5 things, right? And that is all to cause confusion for you. They know that if someone is confused, it's hard for them to make a decision, especially when you have to make a decision you really don't want to have to make, right? You don't get into a relationship for it to end, right? You got into the relationship for it to be long term, right? Forever. And so they know that that decision is already difficult for you. So to fluctuate between all these different responses, they know is going to cause confusion for you. Keep in mind too, these people are also very emotionally immature. They can present very mature to the public, intellectually, high functioning, maybe great career, maybe even very wealthy, right? But don't mistake that for someone who is emotionally well developed, right? People can be very underdeveloped emotionally but still be successful in other areas. And with that said, another reason they may fluctuate between all these things that I'm sharing with you is not only to cause confusion for you, but because they can't handle their emotions, right? When they see that someone wants to distance themselves, their ego is more bruised than the average person, right? We're all human. We all feel pain if someone's pulling away from us, right? But if you know you're not doing right to someone, right? Like, of course, at some point they're going to say enough is enough. But in their mind, they take much more highly offense to it, and they take no responsibility, no accountability for how they treated you. So because of that, in their mind, and because of their underdevelopment emotionally, right, this is why too they may fluctuate between love bombing and then hating, because now they're all out of whack too. So now we spoke about them, some of the things that they're going to do once they see that you don't want to be in the relationship anymore. But I don't want to just leave you there. This is not just about studying them. Please don't be one of those people that study, and I say this all the time and I'll keep saying it. Please do not be one of those people that study narcissism, study toxic people, but you're not figuring out how to heal for yourself, right? Healing is not just about getting out of the relationship. It's about understanding, what do I need to do for myself psychologically, as well as in the physical action steps that I need to take. So let's first talk about the psychological aspect that you need to make. And that is understanding and reminding yourself constantly, right? It's not just understanding, but you have to immerse yourself in another way of thinking, because clearly some of the ways that you were thinking before got you into that situation and kept you there, right? So healing is not just about getting out, but it's about changing those parts of you that got you there, kept you there, so you don't end up back in a situation like that again. So the first thing, and this is something I had to do for myself as well. Yes, I'm a mental health therapist. Yes, I'm a toxic relationship coach, but I too went through my own toxic narcissistic relationship in the past, and these are some of the things that I had to do. And one of them is understanding that a healthy partner in a healthy relationship will never leave you feeling confused. right? So with them doing these things, whether they're doing one of the 5 things I gave you or they're doing all 5, interchangeably, a healthy person is not going to leave you confused, right? And I'm speaking to usually my ladies. If you're a man, you can turn it around. Don't be offended, right? But for my ladies, in particular, the way men are wired, when they know what they want, when they know that they want to make you their wife, they want to live forever with you, they want to build with you, they're not going to jeopardize losing you by keeping you confused. They're going to be clear about who they are, what they want, and what they want with you. So if someone is leaving you confused, that is a clear sign, right? So don't let the confusion keep you there, because you see, they're hoping that when they're doing these things that you're going to be confused about, but should I go? But he had a good side, but sometimes he's love bombing, sometimes he's hating, right? They're hoping that confused state is going to keep you there, insecure about making a decision to escape, right? An unhealthy situation. But now if you change your mindset around what your standards are, and we go deeper into in my program about standards and boundaries, which is so important, right, to rebuild yourself from these toxic narcissistic relationships. If you change your standards to say, I am only allowing people in my life or relationships in my life that are clear, that are not going to leave me confused, that are not going to, have me on highs and lows all the time. If you change your standards and your mindset around that, you will have clarity. Doesn't mean you won't feel the pain, but you will have clarity to make your decision to say, okay, you're leaving me confused. I don't know where you stand. One day you're up, the next day you're down. I know, and that's just that, but based also on the long-term history of our relationship, right? You're not stable. You're not healthy for anyone, right? But you're definitely not healthy for me. So that is a mindset shift that you want to make and a standard you want to set for yourself. So now you are clear and secure to make the decision to escape this toxic, unhealthy environment. So as far as your next best step, we talked about the psychological shift that needs to make. Now physically, you need to plan and execute your exit plan, okay? Strategize, right? Financially, housing, your support systems, right? And again, keep a lot of things away from that toxic or narcissistic partner. Do not go, and I know in the heat of the argument, you want to tell them, I know who you are, I know what you're doing, I know why you're doing it, I've been studying people like you, I know you want to say it, but keep it to yourself. Select a 2 to 3 good people you can trust, however many people you have in your life that you can trust and has the capacity to support you, discuss things with them if you need support, reach out to other supports, myself, anyone else that you think has the capacity to help you where you are, right? Don't try to do it all alone. You don't have to, right? But strategize, create your exit plan, and execute your exit plan. And please don't get caught up in this thing about I need closure, I need to discuss it with them. You are going to create your own closure, and that's another discussion for another day. I can have another video on that, but create your own closure. You cannot get closure from an unhealthy, toxic person that loves chaos. They will never give you the closure that you want. They don't have even the emotional capacity to give you the closure that you want. That's like going to a toddler and saying to a toddler, I want closure on this disagreement that we've had. They don't have the capacity, okay? So create your own closure, work on that mindset shift, and create an exit plan about what you need to do to get yourself out of there where you can still have a shelter over your head. Even if it's not as comfortable as where you are now, you might have to make that sacrifice to be a little, downgrade. Keep in mind it's temporary, but it's about saving your sanity and getting yourself away from a toxic and unhealthy environment. If you understand that healing and rebuilding yourself from a situation like this, these toxic, narcissistic, destructive people, if you understand that it's bigger than just getting out of the relationship, maybe you've been out of it for a while, you still don't fully feel like yourself, you can click the link in the description box below to see the different ways that I can support you there. Again, besides being a toxic relationship coach, besides being a mental health professional, I too was in a narcissistic relationship for 10 years. I've worked with women to help them not only only to get out, but to rebuild themselves. Because what's happening is that people are getting out of these relationships, but they're either falling right back into the same types of relationships as before, right? They're attracting the same type of people, or they are attracted to the same type of people, or they're staying single, but they're not living full out, right? We are meant to thrive in all areas of our lives. We're not meant to live a life of bitterness and of confusion, right? We're meant to love, we're meant to have companionship, and yes, maybe not every single part of our lives, but generally that is what we're meant to do. So, sometimes people block themselves from relationship because they think that is their way of, setting boundaries and being strong, but really you're blocking yourself from love, from companionship that God wants to bless you with. When you heal, when you shift your mindset, when you shift your way of thinking, when you change your standards, you learn how to set boundaries, you understand how toxic narcissistic people work, but you also understand the parts of you that need to change to make sure you attract the right type of people, right? You're able to build new healthy relationships. That is all really healing. So if you want to go deeper into that, if you want to get support from that, go ahead and click the links below. I hope this video blesses you, and I will see you in the next one.